Hi, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I'd like to welcome you all to our 2021 trends, our post-pandemic style. We've got some amazing ladies in here today who I'm going to kick it over to them, let them introduce themselves, and then we'll jump into all of our questions for them. If at any point you guys have questions or want to know anything, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment box. Just know that it's open to the public so everyone can see what you write. And just so you all know, this will be recorded and available after the summit. So if you miss anything or you have to step away, you'll be able to catch up. Also, real quick, I just want to say thank you to our presenting sponsor, Mary Kay. They've been so essential in getting this off the ground, and it's really a wonderful thing for all of us. So without further ado, Francie, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Francie. I'm a stylist and an image consultant, and I'm so happy to be here.
Where are you based, Francie?
I have a home base in Los Angeles, and then I also spent some time in Florida and Nashville. Last time we did this, I was in Nashville, so.
Jumping all over the place. Lindsay, how about you?
Hi, I am Lindsay. I'm also a stylist, and somehow I'm also LA, Florida, and Nashville these days. So not to copy, but I'm in Florida today.
Nice.
I am too, Lindsay. Hi.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to text you later.
Pia might have stepped away for a moment, so let's jump over to Alexis.
Hey guys, my name is Alexis Bennett. I am the commerce writer at Vogue magazine, and that pretty much means I just shop all day for a living online. So I'm excited to talk to you guys today about trends, and I'm based in New York. I was in Florida last month for an entire month, so I'm missing it. The weather isn't as great here, but you guys live it up for me.
Very well.
Well, Alexis, you'll just need to come to LA then and complete the triangle.
Yes, I'm coming next.
So when Pia gets back in, she'll do a quick introduction, but until then, let's just jump right into it. Sorry, of course.
I love that ringtone.
It's literally a landline. Someone's at the gate. Anyway.
Real life.
So Lindsay, I know you can't avoid it. It just keeps getting in the way of your important Zoom calls. I like just getting right into it, Lindsay. What were some of your favorite runway trends that you saw in 2021 or that you see for 2021?
I think probably optimistic colors like bubblegum pink and lime green. I love all of the relaxed suiting that you're seeing. It's like an escape from all the clean lines. It's like, you know, trousers and easy blazers and just more relaxed fits. I think, and sweater sets, obviously, like sweater vests and just like the cute matching sets that I remember loving like in my early high school days. So I love the kind of like return to the late 90s, early 2000s nostalgia of it all.
Nice. Alexis, did you notice anything in your world that spoke to that, you know, in the, you know, New York and like online? Did you see similar overlap?
Yeah, for sure. I think that we're all kind of in a place where we're looking forward to just being out and about again. And I think that, you know, one thing the pandemic really escalated is just like, you know, every day is special. So for me, I'm just like ready and excited to, you know, even wearing heels in the house and just like getting dressed up for fun. So yeah, definitely I can relate, Lindsay, seeing the optimism, especially the colors, even, you know, one thing I love, like Prada's latest show with the bright gloves, just like that it's like a party glove, but obviously there are no parties happening right now or shouldn't be happening, but still it's just like, you know, you just want to get dressed up and excited. And but at the same time, I think that the effortlessness of, you know, and coziness that we've adopted over the last 12 months, I think that's still going to remain. And we're just going to find ways to marry the two, to have fun, but also make sure we feel our best and feel comfortable.
Pia, real quick, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I didn't leave. It said I couldn't turn my video on. I was like,
just getting the best of us.
Hi, I'm Pia Baroncini. I have a brand called LPA, and I have a podcast called Everything is the Best.
Oh, awesome. Pia, we were just quickly chatting. I don't know if you could hear us or not, but we were just talking about, stuff that's been happening in fashion in regards to 2021. Have you seen anything, or have you interacted with anything that you felt was a shift or something that was maybe pandemic influenced?
Well, right away, like when lockdown happened, like from a design perspective, we obviously assumed everybody was going to want very cozy at home clothes. And so we pivoted and we did that. And of course, that sold really well. But I was shocked at how evening dresses and novelty tops and heels were still selling consistently through the whole pandemic. So for me, obviously we saw a rise in like nap dresses and daily sleeper and all those like cozy, yummy things, which I think me personally will definitely keep holding on to. But I also think that it's a weird dynamic because people also just really want to dress up. And now I find myself going to dinner in like a full regalia because I'm like, see, I'm here. I still got it. I think it's going to be an interesting combination.
Yeah. Francie, before we started the conversation, you and I were talking really briefly about how pandemic has really led people were looking inwards and people were figuring out like, what's important to me, what means something. And one thing I've been really interested in is the sustainability element. I think a lot of people are looking around being like, oh, this is my opportunity to pause and figure out how I feel and figure out how I'm going to approach this. What do we think the balance is between being sustainably minded and then also having that wardrobe that still like slaps every time?
Yeah, I think it's actually really important to find that balance. And I think we've seen such a huge like impact that even like fast fashion retailers have been making in the last like couple of years to really find material that is sustainably grown, or have a recycling program. Like H&M have a recycling program. You bring your clothes, you get a 15% off discount. And to me as a European, I think that's like, it's like such a huge thing here in America to see that there is such a growth in regards to the environment, and how we can actually also maybe support a brand that maybe manufactures here in the US, or in Portugal, or in other areas where we have other labor laws. So hate to say it. So it's just such a thing to see. Even like Zara, you can shop their sustainable brand. You can I actually, Vogue wrote about it last year, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cool, how they are making that effort. And then also I just saw, when we're talking about like cozy pieces like cashmere, I saw like J. Crew advertising how their cashmere is grown and how they're treating it, and I was like, okay, so it's $20 more. Okay, big deal, make the effort, spend that little bit of extra, money, and help, make everything a little bit better from whatever you can do from the comfort of your own home. Yeah.
Do any of you other ladies, what are any of your sustainable practices just in your personal life, not even professionally?
I've been trying to buy more secondhand, and I've actually having fun, finding those unique kind of one of a kind pieces that aren't being made anymore. So for me, I think, there's a lot of opportunity in the secondhand market, and not just with fashion, but also with home decor, in different areas of your life. Like adopting that kind of circular model, I think is really going to be the future of sustainability, and cutting down on so much waste.
Nice.
I think Lindsay's muted.
Oh no.
We cannot hear. Well,
sorry for the technical difficulties, everyone.
Before she comes back on, I want to say dry clean hangers. Those are like such a thing for me. Everybody, please bring them back to your dry cleaner, you know, put them back in the bag, get a little like box that they have. Those hangers are like,
I have literally never even thought of that.
yeah, bring
Like
them back.
not
They
once.
can clean them and recycle them and
Oh, okay.
you're so cute.
We made a lot of changes to our house, especially
yeah?
being in here the last 6 months. We've gotten rid of all of our plastic. We use like resealable Ziploc bags. And then again, for my husband especially is like huge on dry cleaning. So now we go to the green cleaners and we bring our own hangers. I mean, you have so much time now, and I think not running in and out of the house and sitting here all day long and taking out our trash every day and seeing like how much waste we use in our home has been very interesting. And then definitely making sure all of our in-home products are clean and sustainable, so we're not breathing in all those chemicals.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay, I had what Pia had. It would not let me unmute for some reason.
Oh,
I don't know if it's already been covered, but I've been really telling all my friends and family, and this is what I do. I really try to think about, like, before I make a purchase, if I'm going to wear something at least 35 times or, plus. That's been like a really just such a different way to change your mindset. I think I grew up shopping with a mom that was always like, oh, this is a great deal. This is on sale. We should buy it. And so really having to kind of like turn that key in my brain to be like, wait, it's not about a deal. It's not about, what's cool right now. And it's about who am I, which we've had a lot of time to obviously self-reflect this past year, but it's really about figuring out like who you are and sticking to what you believe in and what you want to say, when you walk outside the house, and really trying to wear things multiple times. And also just if something's broken, like learn how to do a little stitch and tailor it instead of throwing it out, and try to buy transitional pieces instead of just, one season. So continue.
thank you. I mean, I feel like we've now been talking about like simplifying, but do we think that, minimalism and simplicity is gonna be more popular in terms of trends, considering the shelf life of it is longer for fashion? Alexis, do you have any opinions on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think people will always have an interest in minimalism, even if it's just like you're using it as the backbone of your closet and you're accenting with those maximalist pieces. So I do believe that, minimalism will be here to stay in a sense, but at the same time, I think it can complement, some of those fun, optimistic trends that we were talking about earlier.
I feel like I saw that a lot on the runways this past season too, like bright green shoes or, bright accessories to kind of pair with that minimalist look to make it cheerful and more optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it's about versatility too. People want clothes that they can, like you said, you want to be able to wear it 35 times. And at the same time, I even went through this phase where I was like, every event, I need a new outfit. But now I'm like, no, like I'm going to buy the pieces that I truly love and that I would want to wear to events over and over again. Like, so I think it's also a process of like, especially since we live in a culture that's all about optics and like looking a certain way, where we get to a point where it's okay to rewear like clothes and to take pictures in them twice. Like that whole mentality, I think, has to change too.
Yeah, we've even seen this on the red carpet now.
Mm-hmm.
Some girls are re-wearing their gowns that they wore like, 5 years ago. I thought that was so cool.
I love that.
Yeah, I don't know at what point it became like taboo to like rewear a coat. People are like, oh my God, she wore that same coat. It's like, do you think they're single use? It's not a paper towel. But do any of you guys have like a not a statement piece, a piece that like is basic by any definition, but you use all the time because it's such a perfect piece?
I mean, I'm very much a fan of good white t-shirts, a good pair of denim. And, I think there's like staples like a good leather jacket that you can wear this and feel good about yourself all the time. You can wear it with sneakers, you can wear it with heels. It's like, again, it's like, I think foundational pieces are really important, and then you can pair them with something funkier, like the new Prada gloves.
I love a shoe. I'm
Mm.
like, and we don't buy a lot of stuff. Like I'm really good about buying things that I'll have forever. But like I have a lot of like, even On the Real has the best vintage Manolos, but I always love to get a good funky Manolo or like a nice Chanel shoe. And I can wear it. What I've been doing, like, especially during the pandemic, is like I'll wear like a little Chanel shoe with sweats. And I feel like I can keep my like easy pieces that make me feel comfortable. Because also I feel like a lot of us, like our weight has been fluctuating during the pandemic. So a good shoe has been like a really easy way. And you know, they're never going to get old. I'm never going to get rid of a shoe. So I think that's been a nice investment that really plays into multiple different outfits.
The shoe always fits too.
Shoe always fits.
Sorry, I got kicked out again. But one of my favorite pieces is if you're still on that topic, a trench coat, because I feel like it's multi-seasonal and I can wear it as a dress, or I can wear it, you know, open with jeans to fly with a white t-shirt, like Franzie's like statement look, you know, like staple look. So that's always my go-to piece that I invest in.
I love a good blazer. And I also believe that like basic doesn't have to mean boring. And so for me, like I just invested in a beautiful Mugler blazer, a black Mugler blazer. It's, you know, a classic, timeless, but also it has like a little bit of a cute edge that isn't boring. And to me, it's the best basic, the best type of basic. So yeah, I'm all about a good jacket, a good blazer.
Nice. So you have your basic pieces. What are ways that people at home or people watching can incorporate, you know, what we've all now heavily invested in, like a loungewear or like something that's a little bit more relaxed and still make it a look?
I feel like back to what Pia just said, I always like, I pulled out my Gucci loafers to put with my like cozy loungewear just to amp it up in different ways, or a headband like she has on. I feel like you're leading the way today, Pia.
Yeah, the headband has been my like COVID go-to because you're only seeing this. I got like 25 headbands.
Same.
Do I need to invest in a headband now that this is my COVID hair? I wasn't able to get a haircut for a long time. So now, should I just start rocking headbands?
Yeah, no.
That would be a lot. The beard of the headband is just full circle. Anyone else have any tips on how to incorporate your loungewear into your, like taking it forward out of pandemic when people maybe aren't necessarily that interested in continuing dressing in sweats all the time?
I feel like also don't forget that you can throw a layer over it, even though it's like a hoodie and, you know, black, like a sweatsuit. Put like a cool jacket, like plaid or something more of a statement piece when you're leaving the house, just to kind of add a little bit of your personality in.
Yeah, I agree. Blazers and hoodies are like really good pairings. And then also, yeah, going back to like what Pia was saying with the great shoes, like having a strong accessory moment can turn a pair of jeans and a white t-shirt into like a statement look. And let's not forget about belts. Like the power of throwing on a beautiful belt really makes a difference. So yeah, I totally agree with all of you guys.
And then you also have, of course, layering jewelry. So if you wear like a cool, you know, hoodie or, you know, a sweater, and you're just like a sweatshirt and you layer some jewelry with it, earrings and some necklaces, you know, gives it a little bit of spark and pop.
Yeah, I'm curious, as a designer, what's been inspiring you? I feel like, you know, there's been such a roller coaster of emotions and, you know, everything going on in the world. For me, I would imagine is very draining for someone who's trying to create, because then you're putting out as much as you're taking in. Whereas a lot of us have just got to be like, okay, I'll just take it in.
Well, I'm working on 2 projects and they're pretty opposite. And I think it's pretty, it's like a direct result of like how we're seeing people really wanting to like, I think there's 2 kinds of people right now, like a lot of women that I'm talking to, especially like a lot of female founders, or if you have kids, they're like, I just want a really minimal closet. I want my best edited things. So I'm working on a brand with a girlfriend right now where we're just kind of rolling out really yummy basics that can go year round and be worn with lots of things. And then LPA, like we're showing at New York Fashion Week in September. And so like I'm full blown, like crazy earrings, like leopard dresses, knee-high boots, like on that aspect. And like, I'm excited about both equally, because I feel like there's definitely you know, everyone's doing both. And so it's been really interesting sitting in here being like uninspired and then thinking like, okay, here's something that we're doing that I think is a direct result of like how I'm personally feeling. Yes, I do really want like more linen, more cotton fouls, like a great sweater to throw over a baggy dress. Like I'm also definitely getting into like home clothes in terms of like linens and aprons that match dresses, because I feel like the dinner party's probably going to come back really hard. So I've been doing aprons that match back to dresses that like cinch like a waist on like a big poofy dress, which has been really cool. And then for the girl who's like, you know, probably single or like has been like in their 20s and like really suffering socially during this time, we're like really giving you stuff to like get your rocks off in September with like leopard and big earrings and heels and stuff. So I definitely think there's not going to be a lot of consistency. I think this is like a very personal thing, and it's been really cool to channel both of those.
I feel like I've noticed that like very risque, like there's been all this cozy clothes and relaxed silhouettes, but then there's like the dresses with like the G-strings, you know, coming out, and then like a total backless dress, micro minis. So there's that like the roaring 20s are like knocking at the door, and we're just, you know, those 20s girls in their 20s are gonna adopt it, and then it's gonna come out, you know, full blown.
Pia, can I make a real quick request?
Yeah.
Can you make aprons large enough for a 6'1",
yes,
50-pound man? You know how hard it is to find an apron that doesn't, like the string comes right under the nipple. I'm like, guys, there's more surface area here. I don't want the rest of me to just be covered in flour when I'm trying to make TikTok bread. I don't know if you guys are on TikTok, but they've got the best bread recipes. Just that has nothing to do with fashion, but important nonetheless.
very.
So Lindsay, you really quickly mentioned the roaring 20s. Do we think that this is going to be just an onslaught of like visual exploration and people are going to just be doing their own thing? And or do we think that people are going to try and like, do we think as a society, everyone's going to want to feel like connectivity, so people are going to be doing a lot of the same thing? That's what I'm really curious. Like, what's the psychological blowback?
I feel like everyone's done so much self-reflection. By now they're like, this is who I am, and they're ready to shout it. So there's like, you know, there's trends on the runway of like tights with like all these prints and, you know, cut out, like just like different layers. And I feel like people are just going to show their different layers and really like have a voice and know who they are by the time we all can like walk out the door and mingle together and see each other again.
I love that you just use tights as a metaphor for like human expression. That
I didn't mean to.
Hi, everyone.
Didn't mean to.
Sorry, Francie, I think I cut you off.
No worries. I was just gonna agree with Lindsay. I've seen so many people just really taking this time to explore themselves, and now we're getting all these like really cool expressive kind of things and on the horizon. So I think in like soon, hopefully we'll see way more creativity again, and then with like these foundational pieces that we just talked about. I think it's such a great combo.
I feel like I've seen a lot of brand loyalty too, and Pia can probably speak to this, but like people that like I feel like fine jewelry, there's been a lot of like brand loyalty of like who you want to, you know, support. And I think with all the sustainability efforts that are being made and people really wanting to, you know, be more sustainable, I just feel like I know who I am now even more, and I like stick to those brands. I feel like brand loyalty is also worth shouting out.
Alexis?
People unfollowed a lot of people and brands that they right away were like, no. Like there was like a major clean sweep of like, that doesn't serve me, that triggers me, like I can't relate to that.
Totally. I totally agree. I feel like consumers are, you know, being a lot more smarter about where they're spending their dollars. And if they feel like a brand doesn't believe in the same things that they believe in, then they don't want to spend money with that company.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, you know, people are smart. Like they're not just, you can't just, you know, do an Instagram post and make your, you know, people believe that that's what your company is really about. Like it has to come from within, and it can't just be for optics and for show. Like, you know, who are the type of people you're hiring? What do they believe in also? And kind of it goes down to the core of the business. So I think people in general will continue to not only, you know, look at brands that are doing sustainable things, but also have what's your social impact and, you know, what do you stand for and what's important to your brand. I think that all goes hand in hand, and it's not just about what trends are you producing.
What's been amazing too is all these brands who are being very active. It's like you can just scroll back. Like,
Right.
no, you haven't been consistent. It's literally all right here.
Exactly.
I think a lot of people did that. They were like, I can see what you're doing, and it's not for me.
Tia, as someone who has a brand, what can something like I could look for? Because I do think it's important to allow brands to catch up and let them grow and learn. Like, yes, maybe 2 years ago they weren't posting and they weren't active, and maybe this was. So how can we differentiate between someone playing to the market right now and doing the optical thing? Is there any suggestions of how we can look? Like, do we look at what their C-suite looks like? Do we look at like who they're casting and who they're like? I just don't know as a consumer, what is something I can do to tell if they're actually walking the walk or if they're just.
I mean, I think if you just look back at like the initial, like the beginning of the brand, like LPA has always like done a really good job of being size inclusive. Our first model was Native American. Like I'm the only white person on my team. Like we have a trans employee, and it's like everyone is from a different background, and that's very reflective in like the output of our brand. And we talk about that all the time. Like I'll even have girls on the team who will be like, oh, should we gift this girl? And I'll look at the girls on my team and I'll say, does that girl look like you? No, we don't. Like, let's have girls in our clothes who reflect our team. And I think that it's hard because like I think it comes from a team level, and it makes me really sad a lot of the time because like these young girls who want to work for these fashion companies are like, oh, let me find like the prettiest girl who's like on a yacht and like thin and white and like and I'm like, that doesn't look like you. So like, why are you doing that? Because like not a lot of people look like that. Like that's not our aspiration. Our aspiration is us. So I think it's really, I don't know, like it also hasn't been the easiest thing to have models from the very beginning who had like shaved heads and like tattoos. And there were definitely people like, why aren't you picking these types of models? And I would always say like, that's not like reflective of like an average room you walk into. And so I think you can tell like if a brand is being optical or genuine by like, just like the history of like what they've chosen to do and like take a little bit of like a different route. I mean, it's very clear. Like, yeah, I mean, we've always used like young girls to create cool content for us and people who are, and we've always shot on men and like, I don't know. I just think I don't think there's like any excuse for it. And I'm happy that people are being accountable. I'm happy that you have no choice but to move forward being an inclusive brand. But like part of me is kind of like, could have just been doing this the whole time. Like, and you should want to. So, and that really does come down to like having a team that like is a reflection of like your output.
Also, I feel like as a business, it just may like to take any kind of emotion out of it. As a business, wouldn't you want greater representation so you have more people interested in your clothing? Like for
It makes no
anyone
sense
who
to me.
has no heart but has a mind for numbers,
Totally.
it works on both ends of it. So thank you. I mean, I think it's really important, especially you guys are leading people in fashion. You guys are telling people and showing people what is cool. And to say that inclusivity and connectivity is cooler than, separation and making people feel less than, the impact is huge and the ripple just keeps going.
I've always been on like the bigger side, and like when I worked for other brands and like a large would come in, they'd be like, oh, Pia, try this on. Like, and I modeled in the Glossier Body Hero campaign. So like, then why would I only have skinny model? Like, even just with that, like it's not like a reflection of what I stand for. So I think it's really important to make sure that you're like hiring a team and like letting your team members take the lead, and it's knowing that it's not just like one person who should like call all these shots. You should be like listening to these like young, interesting, beautiful people that you're hiring.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we get to see maybe some of the more traditional brands to maybe bring on board new creative directors to bring in that fresh breath of air. So in the future, we might get lucky and see that, so we have more options.
Alexis, do you think that because I feel like you have such a good insight into actually the brands themselves. Do you have, what is some way that we as consumers and we as active participants in the fashion realm, and that includes everyone who's watching right now, because if you're watching, you're obviously active in fashion, even if that's just a lifelong admiration. How can we make our voices heard so that brands know that these issues are important to us and we do want to see representation? Is a DM enough? Can we just, shoot the brand a DM?
I definitely think that every little bit, every touch point has an impact. So send a DM, also be conscious of who you're following. Like, and I'm not saying like unfollow the brands that aren't representing, aren't being, a great example, but also like support those up and coming emerging brands by following them and by giving them the support that you want. And I think at the end of the day, it comes down to, where are you putting your money? Like where money talks, like I believe in that saying. And if you don't, so if you don't believe in what a brand is doing, don't spend money there. Like start spending money with smaller up and coming emerging designers. And, I think that that's the greatest impact that you can really have. And we all have social media, we all have platforms where, we can use our voice. And I believe, every person in a sense is an editor. You don't have to work for a magazine to be an editor. You have Twitter, you're an editor. Like you can say something, you have something to say. So yeah, I just believe in just, being vocal and also like being cautious of where your money's going. So.
Do any of you guys have any Instagram accounts that you follow that you feel like people in this or who are watching this panel should be aware of? Maybe something that's hasn't popped off yet, but is going to? I know that's kind of a curveball and I just threw it out there, but.
I mean, I know this is personal to me because it's my client, but one of my clients is Nikki Reed, and she has been passionate about sustainability before it was cool. And she's always been so vocal about it. And she informs me every day, and she always writes something thoughtful and smart and actually does the research. If I bring her a rack of clothes, I'm like, this is a sustainable brand. It's always like, okay, what are their practices? How are they sustainable? I have to come in with like all the knowledge, so she's always just been very conscious. She's a conscious consumer, household things, even like her Instagram is just constantly just a fountain of knowledge for sustainability.
Anyone else?
I like following Chrissy Ford. She's used to be an editor at Harper's for a long time. And I feel like, she's really pivoted during the pandemic and started a new company with Daniel Prescott. And she's very thoughtful and intentional about her thoughts, and moved in with her parents during the pandemic upstate, and watching her go from being a jet setter from Harper's Bazaar and going to live upstate with her parents. I think in general is just a beautiful thing. But the company that the consulting company that she's founded is really fascinating, and they give you can take all their seminars, and I think there's just a fountain of information that can come from her on top of her working with brands that I know that she's done research on. And it's a great way to see what, whatever brands she's supporting, I'm always interested in.
Francie, do you have any that you like?
Well, to be honest, if I can be, I actually did take a break from Instagram and Facebook for a while, over almost the entire summer of 2020. And I just really dedicated myself more to reading a book or taking a walk, and just really figuring out what is it going to be, what I want to do with myself and my future as the next step. So I know that there's other, besides of that, I know all of you have, are so maybe more on social media than I am. But so yeah, I just but I do know a little bit, there's brands that I follow, like Rebecca Minkoff. She has a women's collective that I thought was really great, that she put that together, where all women entrepreneurs from all walks of lives are coming together. And even as an entrepreneur, as a female entrepreneur, you can apply for it. So I thought, when I found that out, I was like, oh, that's really impressive, because that's not necessarily something she puts on Instagram, but she has that in the background.
Nice. So getting back to trends, because I feel like very important conversation that we just had, but also we're all here to know about trans. I would like to real quick just do kind of a round robin and see what everyone thinks like the trend that most people can wear will be. Like, because there's some trends where, let's be real, there's 2 people who can wear them. So Alexis, do you have a suggestion for a trend that almost anyone could wear?
This is a good question. Okay, so I would start with the knit dress, just because I feel like it's something, no matter, you know, what your body type might be or whatever, like you can feel comfortable and cozy in. And I just personally love a knit dress, so I would start there.
Cool. Franzi?
So trends are a tricky one. So I'm gonna again be honest, because this is what I tell my clients, right? If a trend doesn't relate to you, don't wear it, right? Don't feel like pressured into wearing something that you don't really can look back at if there's a picture and you're like, oh my God, what was I thinking, right? So again, like looking at the trends that we have coming up, whatever feels right for you. I'm always saying like, let's incorporate a trend if it makes sense for you, right? So that's kind of my philosophy, rather than saying like ballpark, yeah, this is what now we're going to wear, you know? So that's kind of what I see.
Great. Lindsay, do you have anything that you think is easily incorporated into most wardrobes?
I feel like footwear, like the flossy sandals that are happening right now, or I feel like over the summer it was, you know, like Doc Martin, the chunky sandals and like bright shoes. Those are just easy trends that you can incorporate, and I don't think you'll regret. I still have my like neon orange Jimmy Choo sandals from like Coachella 2007, and now they're cool again. So, you know, you can invest in those pieces, keep them, and then they'll come back around.
Yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I'm sticking with shoes, I think, because that's just been my biggest go-to. Like the Attico has such cool shoes, and I mean, and Muwadi, and I just feel like it's such an easy way to dress up anything. And I think it's like, you know what else I like about a shoe? It's like so joy sparking in your closet. It's like, especially if it's expensive and you like worked really hard to buy the shoe, and you like walk into your closet and you see this, like it's almost like little piece of art. And I really like that.
Awesome. So I'm going to jump over to some questions. We've had a very active chat, so thank you everyone who's been joining in the chat. Michelle would like to know, how do we feel the pandemic will affect what we're wearing to work? Does anyone want to take this?
Sure. I think, I think more and more it's going to go more casual rather than this whole corporate America look. What is it? Khakis and a blue shirt.
That's a 4-letter word in this chat. Khakis. Get out of here.
I was so surprised when I moved to this country what people would wear to work. So I think definitely we'll see more easygoing, relaxed pieces in the corporate world. Once we're all going back to offices, who knows when that's going to be, but for sure, I think that casual pieces, but also creativeness is going to come back. Self-expression.
How does anyone else feel about workplace attire?
I mean,
no. Sorry, go ahead, Alexis. I'm more curious than you.
I mean, I'm excited to go back. I actually have never been in the Vogue offices since I started my position at Vogue. So I'm really excited to go and I know I work at a place though where kind of anything goes, and self-expression is our dress code. But we've actually been talking about this, and just like in general, I think there are still like we still want to hold on to those things that made us feel comfortable, while we're at home. So instead of like a structured pencil skirt, maybe you're wearing a knitted pencil skirt with a matching cardigan. So I think it'll kind of maybe have like those same kind of business, like I'm ready to do business type of silhouettes, but just with like cozier materials and cozier fabrics and I don't know. I'm just excited to go in general, like I said, because I've never been. But I do think it will be an environment that's probably a lot more relaxed, and especially since we've been looking at each other on Zoom for the last 12 months, and you're literally in everyone's living room with them, and they're so relaxed. So I think at the same time we want to hold on to that kind of like that comfort, and bring that into the office too.
Lindsay or Pia, do either of you want to jump on this?
I feel like it'll probably be like what I've been, but well, that's also like I'm pregnant, so it's a different, I'm in like a different mindset. But but I do think that, you know, like I've been buying like really yummy basics, and I felt like every time I post like a white shirt on my Instagram, everyone's like, where did you get that white shirt? And I'm like, that's so funny. Like, do you hear how much people want like really yummy basics? But I found that I'm wearing them in ways I would have never considered before. So it's like, you know, I got like a Wolford dress, and I've been wearing that with like different kinds of sweaters and different kind of cute shoes. And I think it'll be like a cool combo of like, this is how I feel comfortable. I'm not trying to show up here showing off something that's like weird and awkward, because like I don't need to do that anymore. And I feel like it'll be a nice combination of relaxed but like a really good amount of self-expression.
Nice. Lindsay, I know you had mentioned brand loyalty and jewelry earlier, and then I'm trying to scroll back and see who had asked.
This one asked about jewelry trends, right?
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
think it was Michelle again, or a different Michelle who spells their name the same. I don't know.
I noticed that, and I immediately thought of, since the 70s, we hadn't covered that today, I guess, but the 70s have kind of trickled in too. So a lot of like, I mean, obviously like a lot of layering is still in, and like usually I have like if I'm going somewhere, I put like a link, you know, choker that's a little tighter in layer. But since the 70s are in, I've seen a lot of like long pendant necklaces that are kind of like expressive and maybe a little bit oversized. I've seen a lot of like that long pendant necklace come in.
Nice. Has anyone else noticed anything in jewelry that maybe is different now than it was a few years ago?
I feel like there's a lot of earrings and like really cool novelty. Like I feel like costume jewelry, it's like become a cooler daily thing to wear. I noticed that at the beginning, like brands like Iliu making like, and like Harry Styles, like all the jewelry that he wore in that shoot, like just cool different pearls and different like interesting. It's such an easy way to dress yourself up. And I think it used to be very like eccentric to wear like a funky earring, and I think it seems more.
I feel like also with shows like Bridgerton being so popular, all of that costume jewelry is going to, you know, and through fashion, I can't wait to see like the more voluminous sleeves and the empire waist, and you know how TV is going to impact what we've been seeing. But I think so too, like all that costume jewelry is going to be even louder in the next few seasons.
I don't think anybody considered that. Like an LP dress went on Revolve, and I saw I read the reviews, and some girl was like, this is the Bridgerton dress that I've been dying for. Like, can't wait to wear this with a corset. And I was like, I gotta do like a Bridgerton capsule. Like,
You do. It would kill.
No, you were doing it. All right, guys.
We hit a trend like before it came out.
My family's throwing a Bridgerton party tonight, and I'm not joking. And I was trying to search for a dress that wasn't a costume, that was just like an empire waist, just something that I would actually wear. And it was hard to find. Do it, Pia.
So guys, we've reached the end of our panel. Thank you to our panelists. You guys have been so great. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. I hope you guys learned a lot and enjoyed our conversation. We will be taking a 5-minute break after this, so you'll have time to get a drink of water or do anything you need to do before your next panel. But I hope you're all staying safe and healthy and enjoying your fashion.
Yes,
thank you guys.
So nice to speak with such amazing women.
Bye, everybody.